Can you all hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Can you all hear me? Okay, good. Good, good, good. All right, hold on. Let me put this up. Okay. Happy St. Patrick's Day. How is everyone doing? Can hear you now. Okay, cool. So, just a couple things. If you all have questions, if you could type the word question in caps and then type in your question, then we can get those answered. I'm trying to figure out how to find out from my moderator what the questions are. So bear with me because, you know, I'm new at this. All right, today we are going to be using the Creative Grids Wonky Log Cabin Trim Tool. And we're going to make a wonky log cabin. And we're going to make it out of St. Patrick's Day fabric. And then I'm going to show you an alternate way to make a wonky log cabin in case you don't have this particular ruler. It's not quite as intricate, but it gets the job done. Also, I have my peanut M&Ms that I am enjoying, so I am eating my chocolate like I'm supposed to. And then I have 2 show and tells. First of all, the Fabric Cafe was kind enough to send me the Make It Easy quilt book. This is the 3-yard quilt book that's just come out recently. And here are the patterns. Let me try and show you without the glare. So there are some really cute patterns on here. So one of these will be in the near future. And then also, I went to Chicago. I'll be right back. And I got some fabric that I have not been able to find here in the Louisville, Kentucky area. I don't know if you all watch Tim Holtz or not. I love Tim Holtz, and he came out with a new color blocks line, and I found it in Chicago. Of course, you can find everything in Chicago. Those are cotton. This is actually a canvas. So I'm thinking maybe a bag might be a good thing to make with that. And then I found another line. It's Free Spirit, and it's Butterfly Fields by Sue Penn. So I'm just going to show you. Now this may be in my area, but it caught my eye. So, you know, I was there. I had to buy it. And this has all my favorite stuff. Paint splotches and circles and bright colors. So I wanted to share that with you. Isn't this a great line? I love it. All right, so those are my 2 show and tell things. Now, do you all have any questions before I get busy on my my wonky block? And I kind of tried to get everything in this little space. So hopefully it'll all work out. Okay. Wow, from Romania. That is quite a distance. Hello. And hi everybody. I don't know if I said that or not. All right, so we'll get started on our wonky log cabin block, and then we'll see what questions. Maybe see if my iPad's charged, and maybe I can see questions on the iPad. Nope, not even booting up. All right, so I might have to answer questions after the live. Okay, so with this trim tool, what you do is you make your first part of the log cabin block, and then you trim. And then you make the second part of the log cabin block where you add the additional strips around the edge. Start with that, you use 2.5-inch strips, and you cut. And then you add the last set of strips, and you cut. So, I have an idea of how it works. Let's hope it works the way I think. And if not, then you all get to see what I messed up on, and you can avoid making those same mistakes. This is like the tiniest log cabin block ever. So if you all aren't familiar with what a log cabin block is, this is it. It's a center square, and we're going to do 2.5 inches. This is who knows what. And then you just add on, and you go, let's see, I usually go clockwise. Yeah. So you start with your middle square, and then you add the same size square to that, and then you have a strip that is the same length as those two squares put together, and then you add another strip which will also be the same size as those two squares, and I may be doing it backwards. Okay, here you go. I know I do it counterclockwise. No, clockwise. Clockwise. So then you have another strip that is the same length, another strip. So you have around this little block in the center, it's going to be surrounded with strips. And that's when we make our first cut. So let me get these strips sewn. So I'm starting out with a bright pink because I have one of my St. Patrick's Day fabrics that's got some pink in it. So I took that opportunity to use pink. And this is a 2.5-inch block. And then I have another 2.5-inch block. And I'm going to sew these two together using a 1/4-inch seam. All right. All right, so these two pieces are together. And I actually have my little iron on so I can just press. So now I have my center block and the block on top. Now I'm going to add a strip. And this strip should be 4.5. I cut 5, but that's okay. So I'm going to put right sides together. So I've got my 2 blocks on one side and my strip of fabric on the other. And I'm going to sew that on there. And essentially you're just going to go round in circles to make this particular block. Normally, we're going to do some wonky stuff because, you know, I like wonky. All right, and you can do really cool things like they did with this one where you have light on one side and dark on the other. And then the way that you put those together can make really cool effects. All right, so I'm going to trim down my little edge. Okay, so I've got this. Now I'm going to add a strip to the bottom, and it needs to be the same size as this strip. Let me cut him down to 4.5. I'll just cut him down a minute. And it's going to be this fabric. And then I will have one more side that I need to add. So, as you can see, now it looks like this. I'm going to press that This would be also a good thing to use scraps for. If you cut your scraps into 2.5-inch strips, this would be a great scrap buster as well. I think I ironed that quite right. Okay. Okay, so we started with this block and we added this 2.5 inches. This is 2.5 by 4.5. Then we added the 2.5 by 4.5 across the bottom. Now we have our block is at 6 or 6.25. So I need to come up with a different strip. So I've got this. So I'll cut this at 6.25. And then I can trim it down if I need to. Okay, so you just have to keep up with what you added last. I know that can be hard for me. So this is going to go right here. And then we're going to see if I know what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. Okay. Oops, hold on, let me do it that way. Okay, so we've made a full circle in a square. All right, let me press this. So you're going to make 2 cuts with this particular ruler to make your block wonky. And the ruler has, I'm going to do this so maybe you can see it, it's got round 1A on it, and there's a block right here. Let me put this in the block so it's easier to see. Okay. I think my 1/4 inch is a little big, but that's okay. So here it says round 1A. So you put the center of your block in round 1A, and then you trim around it. So let me adjust the camera just a little. All right, so I have the center, and then I'm going to cut on this side, and I'm going to cut on this side. Oh, I did that right. So this is the beginning of the wonky. Now, you also have a round 1B. Now let's see. Did I pay attention how I cut that? This is where I probably should have paid attention to the rules. Hold on. Okay, so pay attention to how you cut the first block. Okay, let's do it this way. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. Yeah, you probably need to be consistent, just saying. So here, I've got round 1B. And I've got this excess fabric. So I'm going to set it down, put my 1B. Next time I have to pay attention to where I cut. And then I'm going to trim on the outside. And the great thing about a rotating cutting mat is that if you have enough space, you can rotate without moving. Okay. And you won't lose your place. Oh, Oliver wants to come in. He wants to see you all. Quite get that. Okay. Got all these scraps. Okay, so this is our wonky so far. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Let me let Oliver in. Yeah, you're late. You're late for the live. Mm-hmm. Let's see. No. Yeah, you're late for the live, dude. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the 4 sides again. And now we have 5 1/4. So I can cut a couple strips at 5 1/4. And then, of course, as we go around, it's going to get bigger. All right. So there's 5 1/4 where we can add. And I'm just going to do it clockwise. Okay, so let's just do this. All right, so here it is. I'm going to add this to the bottom. So there is some waste to the Wonky log cabin, just for those of you who don't like to waste fabric. But you could put it in a string quilt. If you were worried about the waste. All right, so let me... Okay, so there's that. Now we have longer. So we're going to go 7 1/4. Let's see, I see that green. I don't see this green, so I'm going to cut this at 7 1/4. Fortunately, this has lines on it too. I do love my rotating cutting mat, I must say. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to add right sides together down this side. And it doesn't really matter if you have 2 fabrics that are the same touching one another. It just depends on, you know, what you're trying to make. You don't have to get all caught up with that. It's okay. Okay, so we got that. I think the next one I'm going to be cutting is the black with the shamrocks on it. Anybody's birthday today? I know several people who have birthdays on St. Patrick's Day. Anybody in our chat have them? Okay, I'm going to trim this a little. Okay, going to cut this at 7 1/4 as well. And if you, like on this machine, I think my 1/4 inch is a little bigger than a 1/4 inch should be. If you use the same machine and the same distance from the needle for your whole project, it doesn't matter if it's the right 1/4 inch. You just keep on trucking. As long as you use the same distance from the needle, you'll be fine. Okay, so now I'm going to add this here. And it looks like I cut that wrong. But it's okay, because we're going to trim it all down anyway. This might actually be 7 inches. Ah! Yep, this is how it really is. Because, you know, I like chaos. Sheer chaos. Oh, here comes Oliver. He's like, okay, I've waited long enough. All right, so here we've got our starting block. We've gone this way. Now we need to add to the longest side. And what am I going to add to the longest side? I don't know. This looks like it is 9 1/4. I guess I'm gonna, I don't want to add the pink. What do I want to add? Hold on, I need something else to add to it. I don't like that. Let's see. How does this look? That doesn't match at all. I don't know about you all, but I don't know. It's not bad. We'll go ahead and use it. I've got it out. Might as well use it. And Grace is going to bark at the cat. See, you all get to see you get to see real life. What really goes on. Now I need a ruler. Grace, be good girl. Yes, you be good girl. All right. So you can see what I've done for the rest of the quilt. I took just regular yardage. If you have 2.5 inch strips, that is awesome. I would use those. I didn't have the 2.5 inch strips in the fabric for St. Patrick's Day, so I'm just using yardage, and I am straightening my edge, and I'm just going to cut a 2.5 inch strip. Okay, and this is by Henry Glass. Measure twice, cut once, right? Okay. So now let me get the 9 1/4. Okay. I'm sorry I can't watch the chat and do this at the same time. All right. So, I love this little ruler. So nice to have a little ruler. Okay. 9 1/4. Wow, Oliver's being good. He's not getting in my way. Now I've lost my block. Oliver, oh, here it is. Okay, so now we're going to add this last border. I guess we'll call it a border strip. Right sides together. Just stick with the 1/4 inch you've got. Okay, and this is our block. Now, let me press this down, and now we're doing round 2A and round 2B on our Wonky log cabin. So just like before, here is round 2A. So now I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing. It's hard for me. All right, so I'm going to put 2A here. I've got my pink square and on top of the square that was the second square that I was sewing on. Okay, so here is round 2A. So I want to make sure that I pay attention to where I'm cutting. So I should be using that same setup where my pink is on top of the second block that I sewed on. I think that's right. Okay, so here I'm going to trim. I'm going to rotate and trim. Okay, so we've got the first part. And what you do, so you're going to the opposite side of the ruler. So here was 1A and here was 1B. Here is 2A, and and then I'm going to flip the ruler over, and that, sorry for the glare, is 2B. Ah, yes, now Oliver's being himself. Okay, so Oliver. All right, so 2B. I actually think I want to go the opposite way when I do 2B. Yes. So when I do the 1, I make sure that what I added second is top or bottom, whichever way you want to do it. Then you're going to flip your fabric and make sure to line up. So here, see how this fabric is on the top now, whereas when I did 1B, it was on the bottom. So we all learned something. All right, center that. And there are all kinds of other lines on here. You know how Creative Grids is. They always do all kinds of extra lines so you can do special stuff because, you know, they've got great rulers. Okay, more scraps. All right, so now we have the second, version of our Wonky block. Now I need to add 4 more strips. And I'll start on the bottom. So this time we're back to 6.5. Oh yeah, because we cut stuff off. So it doesn't grow as quickly as you might think it does. All right, so let's do the black at 6.5. You're gonna make this hard on me, aren't you? Careful, that iron is hot. Hot, hot, hot. All right, dude, don't move. Okay. All right, so I'm going to add this to the bottom. Right sides together, 1/4 inch seam. All right. I'm working in a very small space. Okay. So we've got this. Now we'll add to the left side because we're going clockwise. Oliver, Oliver, Oliver. All right, so this is going to be 9.25. Okay, dude, you're going to have to move. And I'm going to add it with this. Let me find which one I've cut the most. It would be this one. Okay, got to get up, dude. Got to get up, bud. Stay right there. Don't move. Oh, I rotated my cutting mat. And I'm like, oh no, my 12 and 13's over here. Okay, there you go. I gave myself a heart attack for a minute. Okay. So yeah, if you're rotating cutting mat, if you're using that, it's gonna maybe, be backwards. Make sure that you pay attention. All right, 9.25. Go here. Okay, so now we're going clockwise. We're gonna add that here. And I'm just trying to avoid adding the same fabric. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter if your fabric, if 2 of the same pattern touch. It's not a big deal. Especially if you're doing something like that teeny tiny one. Because then you actually want the same fabric to touch. Okay, so here, added that. Now next, I think is going to be the green check, I believe. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to use the green check. Do I want to use the green check? I think I want to use the green check. And it is also going to be 9.5, I believe, or 9.25, or 9.5. I'm going to cut it at 9.5 so that I don't have to redo anything. Okay. Now, while I'm cutting this out, is this something that you guys would like to see, how to make different blocks? Because I know somebody mentioned the Wonky log cabin, and somebody's been asking me for forever to show how to do this. Okay, so here we're going to add this. I could very easily do different blocks. That would be fun, because you can take this block and, you know, make a whole quilt with all of these blocks. You don't have to have 2 different blocks, or 3, or 4 in your project. Half square triangles are so versatile. We actually did a block of the month at the local quilt shop, which has since closed, unfortunately. And all we did were half square triangles, and we made each month. So we made 12 different blocks with the half square triangles. Half square triangles are awesome. All right, so here we've added this, 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 and now I need something for this side. So I'm going to grab my Henry glass. He'll always be Harry to me. And this is going to be longer. So it's going to be, I'm going to do 11.5. I think it's actually 11.25. Just to make sure. And I am sure that there is something out there that gives you the measurements up front. Losing my ruler. And if I find it, I will definitely link it so that you all can see it. Because I know that there are certain links that you use for this ruler. All right, so we're going to add this right here, just like that. Okay. And I'm not sure if this is our last one or we do one more round. We'll all find out together. Okay. And you could finger press. You don't necessarily have to have out your iron. Unless Di or Tracy are watching you, then you better have out your iron. That's why I have mine out, just in case they're watching. Okay, I did 11.5. Looks like it fit. I'm glad I did 11.5. All right, now we are on round 3. And it just says center square round 3. Let's see if I did this right. Oh, I think I did. Yay. All right. This is cool. All right. Let me hold this up for you. So you don't have to be remembering anything for the last round, but round 3 is your last cut. All right. So now this rotating cutting mat is going to be really, really handy. So I'm going to cut here, and then I'm going to turn it and cut, and turn it and cut, and turn it and cut. And here I have a Wonky log cabin block. All right, now for those of you who don't have that ruler and who don't like buying rulers that are, you know, maybe only good for one thing, or you just don't want to buy rulers, what you can do is you can make your log cabin block just like you would normally make it. And I've done this in a tutorial before. So this log cabin block is 10, I think it's actually supposed to be 10 1/4 inches, maybe. Like I said, my 1/4 inch seam is bigger than it should be. So what I do is when I make my log cabin block, I take a ruler, a square ruler that's smaller than my log cabin, and I just put it on an angle and cut. Let me find a block that's done so I can just show you what I mean. I probably do have a log cabin block lying around here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So we're going to pretend this is a log cabin block. It is not a log cabin block. I know it's not a log cabin block, but just, and I wouldn't probably make it this big. However, pretend log cabin. So then, and I would use a bigger ruler in this instance, but this is the one I have out. I just take it and tilt it as much as I can so that when I trim all the way around, I have a wonky block. And honestly, you know, really and truly, I could do that with this block. It doesn't have to be a wonky log cabin. It could be a wonky 9-patch. Huh, maybe I'll have to do one of those videos. But that is an alternative if you don't have the ruler and you need to make a wonky log cabin today, or, you know, any wonky block. Take your block, take a ruler, put it askew, trim around it, and you've got a wonky block. All right, so does anyone have any questions? How about an octagon small piece of fabric to make a table placemat? I don't know if that's related to another. Yeah, I'm sure I can, yeah, I'm sure you could too. You could, if you've got a set of square rulers where, you know, you've got a smaller one and then a larger one and a larger one. So you could easily do that. You just do your first log cabin, tilt the ruler just like I showed how to do this, and then get your next size up, add your borders, tilt it the other way, trim. So yeah, you could definitely just take rulers. If you're really good, you could just do it with a straight edge. I would struggle probably with that, but definitely could be. Okay, so any questions? I'm not seeing any. I wanted to keep it to about a half an hour, but I went a little over, so you know, that's okay. I do want to say thank you guys so much for coming out and watching. And please put in the comments if this is the kind of thing you would like to see on a live, because I mean there are a million different blocks that we could do. And I think that would be fun, is to learn, you know, all the different blocks. I'm probably got a book that goes over all the different blocks that there are. So we could definitely do that. And, you know, if you liked it, you might want to subscribe. It's you know, you can do it. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. What's the name of your ruler? It is the 10-inch Wonky Log Cabin Trim Tool. And then this one is Skyhawk. I'm sure I got this one off of Amazon. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I plan on, I don't think I have anything else going on next Sunday. It's not Easter yet, right? So I will have around 3 o'clock another live on next Sunday, and I'll look at your comments and decide from there what I'm going to do. Thank you so much. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Did you all see my earrings? I have earrings and my scarf and green. I'm like, you know, celebrating. I do have a little bit of Irish in me. And I will have a video tutorial coming out soon. I see the quilt. Here, I'll give you all a sneak peek, because all I have to do is finish editing it. So I'm gonna lift this up. Do questions and answers. Yes, I could do that. I don't know how many questions and answers there are that you all have, but so there is the next video, or the next quilt tutorial for the next video. No one will pinch me. That's right. I am safe. And, you know, remember, have a great day, eat some chocolate, and be kind to everyone. Thank you, guys.